Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
Yeah, that's right. We're taking a look at him. I hate this fucking design. It fucking sucks. But let's take a look at the box first. So here's the box for the figure. You can see look at wheeljack there. Don't exactly know why they decided to use the vehicle mode picture for the front. It's a bit abnormal for Studio Series. At least from what I know, I don't think I've seen any other Studio Series box use its vehicle mode for the front, which is honestly kind of whack. But, nonetheless, they did it. Well, and here's the other side of the box here with that disgusting, nerdy face. And here's the back of the box right here with the look at the figure there. And here we have another look at this disgraced character. I'm probably going to be pretty negative with this review because, to be honest, the figure's not as great and the character sucks. And as you see at the top right there, there's the logo from the movie, and that's pretty much it for the box. So let's take a look at the insert in the box first. So here's the insert in the box. It's basically, your standard Studio Series type of a little cardboard display. I know some people don't use them, for a good reason. People just want to display the figures all together, and having all the display little box things next to each other would kind of create for too much crowded space. But I think these little displays are still a little nice thing that they add. They don't have to add them, but they still do. And I think they're a nice little touch, if you just want to have it displayed with the display or not. But this certain specific display is from the road scene in the movie. Kind of an interesting scene to put because he wasn't in robot mode during this scene. So it's kind of a weird kind of backdrop they decided to choose, but I mean, it's alright, I guess. So, here's the figure, and I'll go over what I've done to him. I basically just, paint him up how I usually paint my other ones. Because, he did look pretty bland, and, even though I don't really like this figure, and I don't really like the character much, I did want to complete my Rise of the Beast Autobot team, and my Rise of the Beast shelf in general. But, I can't just have them unpainted, so I had to do something to them. So, taking a look at what I did here, I pretty much just weathered them down, added little extra details that were missing, painted areas that were unpainted, and I basically just did a whole workaround on them. And as you can see there, his very, very weird head sculpt. I don't know why they went with this. I actually remember trying to actually get this to be changed once before the movie came out, but because they didn't. But yep, there's the head sculpt, and I just weathered it up, and I did paint that Autobot logo right there on the chest. Didn't chrome first, then add a wash on it to make it sort of metallic, but not too metallic. Still want it weathered down. Obviously, I did the shoulders there and weathered this area up here. I left the kind of straps unweathered just because I feel like if they were weathered, it just wouldn't bring on the look of real seatbelts. But, yeah, he looks good painted up. The body's not my issue with this character or figure or everything. But I'll get into that later on, but I did paint the shoulder bits there just to accent some of these colors a bit more, or sculpt work actually. And as you can see, everywhere else is just pretty weathered up and painted pretty decently to the best of my ability. This figure was pretty hard to paint since there is not a lot of reference photos because, he wasn't really in the movie that much, but I did paint the feet there, weathered them up. The feet may not be accurate because I couldn't really get a good look at the feet, but I tried to just paint up as best as possible, and I think it came out at least, pretty decent, at least in my opinion. But, he wasn't exactly the easiest to paint up, But he does have, like, a decent amount of sculpt work on him. I feel like some parts were kind of lazily sculpted. But, I mean, overall, like, he doesn't look too bad as a figure-wise. But, you know, I just said as a figure-wise, didn't I? But, anyway, yeah, I mean, he doesn't look too bad. As you can see, the back here is sculpted pretty nice, and I did paint that up as well to, really bring out some of that sculpt. And, you know, it doesn't look too bad. Some parts I did leave, like, unpainted and stuff just because it would just get in the way of transformation, because as you'll probably see in this, the transformation is abysmal. It is not good at all. But, yeah, I mean, you know, there's some nice, like, sculpt work on it. The sculpt work for the legs are pretty good. You know, the chest is pretty alright. But, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for the figure as far as when it comes to sculpt and what I did. So let's take a look at his only accessory. So taking a look at his accessory here, all he comes with is just this clear smoky gun. I don't know why it's in a clear smoky plastic. No clue, but he comes with this gun, and you know something weird about this gun? This is a G1 gun. It also was not used in the movie. He did not have a traditional handheld gun in the movie. So again, this, like, it just doesn't make any sense why he has this, but I mean, it's cool, I guess. And of course, how he holds his weapon, you just take it and you just peg it in his hand, like so, and there he has his gun that he didn't use in the movie. But you know, it's a cool gun to use for other figures. Now let's do articulation. Now, if you thought some of the sculpt was limited, wait till you just see this articulation, because it's very limited too. So, the arms, they can go all the way around, technically, if you get past those doors, but those doors hinder it a lot. His arm doesn't go up unless you use the transformation joint, which is a bit weird. He has the Optimus Prime problem. And as for he has like a slight butterfly joint, but that's mainly for transformation. And as for the arms, they have a swivel at the elbow and a single hinge that goes about that far. And he has nothing at the wrists. He does have some articulation at the head, which I kind of forgot, but he can go up, not at all, down a little bit. Can kind of go around, but his freaking nose just hits everything. And his waist does have a swivel in it. As far as his legs go, they can kick forward about that far. They can kick back about that far, but if you do get the backpack out of the way, you can kick even further. And he can get some splits going if you get these arms out of the way. So just moving those arms up out of the way, he can get the splits, which only about that far. He does have a thigh joint at the top of the thigh there. He does have a single jointed knee that goes about 90, I believe. At least it looks like it's 90. And as for the feet, they can go up about that far, back not at all, but if you move the heel spread, they can go back farther, mainly for transformation, and he does have an ankle pivot. So he's decently articulated, but limited in certain areas. So let's do a pose test. So, I hope you enjoyed what little of a pose test that was. Unfortunately, he's not very poseable, at least mainly in the arms, and like it's just hard to get him in poses, so it had to be pretty short. But anyway, let's take a look at the scale for this guy. So, as far as the scale goes, here he is next to the Core Class RC, right there. So, he doesn't look too bad. And let's bring in Bumblebee here. Probably one of the better figures from the Rise of the Beast Studio series line. Definitely looking really good there. And let's bring in, and here he is next to the Studio Series Mirage, which is another figure that is kind of plagued by kibble issues, but I feel like Mirage so happens to manage it a lot better than Wheeljack does. Because at least Mirage actually looks good. I mean, Mirage does have a lot of kibble on his back, but, for the most part, Mirage just looks better, has nicer management when it comes to certain things. I mean, there's things I like about the wheeljack figure that it does, but Mirage just does it a lot better in, a lot of areas, and there's just certain parts of just wheeljack that just don't fit, and I don't know. I don't even like calling him wheeljack, to be honest, because he's not my wheeljack. And here we have the Studio Series Optimus Prime here. So this is how wheeljack looks next to Optimus Prime, and I think the scale fits out pretty well. Doesn't look half bad. I think this fits with the movie. And this team looks great. And I have no problems with this Autobot team. I love this Autobot team, but it would have been so much better if Pablo over here, named Wheeljack, actually looked like Wheeljack instead of whatever they want to do. Not all these characters look at least like the characters they're trying to, and supposed to be, but why him? So bringing in some other comparisons here, we'll have some comparisons with the Maximals. So here he is with Rhinox. And, of course, Rhinox is going to be bigger, and, oops, he wanted to fall over. But here he is with Rhinox. And here he is with Optimus Primal. I don't know if I'm going to paint Primal yet. I think Primal looks pretty good as is, but I'll probably end up painting him anyway. But that's how he looks with the Maximals. Now, let's take a look at some Terracons. So here he is with Nightbird here. And this Nightbird figure is pretty much almost fully customized. I don't know what else to do to her, but that's how he looks with Nightbird. And here he is with the Battle Trap, the Voyager class Battle Trap. Awesome figure, by the way. And here Wheeljack is next to the main villain of the movie, Scourge. Which, Scourge, I am waiting on trying to get the upgrade kits for him. But, yeah, that's what he looks like next to Scourge, and I think this works out, pretty decently. This Wheeljack may be a letdown, but there's one that isn't. And that figure that is not a letdown would be the Bumblebee movie deluxe Wheeljack. Now, here's the controversy. The Bumblebee movie came out before Rise of the Beast, and Bumblebee and Rise of the Beast are within the same universe, but yet he's named Wheeljack, and that's Wheeljack. So... And it's not like one design came out before the other. Well, actually it is, because the Bumblebee movie Wheeljack came out before the Pablo design. So, why would they change it from a perfectly nice-looking rendition of the character Wheeljack into Pablo? And, see, I don't mind the body of Pablo. It's just that head. That head. They could have just used the Bumblebee movie head and put it on the Pablo body, and it would have been fine. Because, these head sculpts are just night and day. Which one is actually Wheeljack. If I were to go to somebody who has not watched Rise of the Beast and told them to let me know which one is Wheeljack, they would say this one is. Because this one actually looks like Wheeljack. And they would tell me they have no idea who this character is. Could be anybody. But instead, it's supposed to be Wheeljack, which doesn't make any sense at all. And... I don't know why they did this. I would have much rather preferred they just used the head from the Bumblebee movie and just maybe put it on the Pablo body, and it would have been fine. And I don't know. I also just remember I tried making a fundraiser, not really a fundraiser, but more of a petition thing to try and get them to change the head on Pablo. But of course, it's not something that's gonna really be reached, but obviously the Bumblebee movie figure 2 is obviously the better figure 2. So it's about time we get into the absolutely horrendous transformation. So to start with, just going to come to the feet, put those heels, and push the feet on in like so, and spin the legs around like that. And you see those tab sections right there. Just going to tab those on in with the legs, and the legs are going to remain like that for right now, but we will spin the waist like so. It'll make it a lot easier, trust me. But it's still going to be a hard transformation, but we're just going to unpeg that right there, lift that back piece up, rotate the waist around here like so. So you have something along the lines of this configuration. And next we're going to do is open up the flaps on the arms here like so. Like that. And then what we're going to do is come here to the backpack, unfold out the front part of the van. If we can get that open here, there we go. Just fold that out. Then what we're going to do here is just make sure these door wings are out of the way. Then take these arms and we're going to try and shift them down while slightly rotating them. We're going to do the same for the other side, so you can do them both in sequence to make it as easy as possible. It's probably not going to be too easy, but we're going to try anyway. Just to try and shimmy this down and rotate at the same time. Yeah, there's just like not enough clearance on this figure and everything clashes into each other. So I'm gonna just try and get this to cooperate. There we go. So we're just going to move that down and it's going to go right under the chest. We're going to do the same for the other arm. That'll go right into the chest like so. And then what we're going to do is just make sure we get everything out of the way that we need to. Gonna rotate this arm just a little bit just to make some room. Gonna do the same for the other arm. And next what we're going to do is lift up this section here. If we can, if there's going to be enough room. Yep, there we go. Just lift that section up. Then move these arms down a little bit to make some more room. Like so. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take these door wings here after we get this back situated. I'm going to take the door wings and move them out like so and tab them into the sides of the chest like that. They just soft tab in. And then next what we're going to do is just move these arms up to get them ready to be pegged in. We're going to take this backpack piece and just kind of squeeze and push it down so that way we can get that on in like so. And then make sure these door wings are tabbed into the sides of the arms. Make sure everything's secure and as good as possible. And make sure these don't tab out. So just tab back in if it comes out. And it looks like it's stuck on something. Alright, so just make sure that's all situated. Alright, should be good. And then we're just going to take this and collapse it down and close it to create the front of the van. And then we're just going to rotate these arms up and they will tab in and tab together. Move those up and tab those on in like so. Give it a little squeeze. Just make sure it's all good. Then we're going to try and rotate these legs to the best of our ability. Gonna have to get it past that hand just a little bit. Just gotta open that up. If I can. Great. Alright, so I'm gonna have to open this up just to let the legs through. And then we rotate the legs like so. Close this back up. Have it back in. Squeeze it on up. And we should get it in this kind of configuration like so. Just tab that back in. And the thighs will go up and fill in those parts like so. Then we're going to reach under here, open up the calves like so, or the shins. And then we're going to bring one leg down. There's going to be a peg right there. It's going to peg in that hole. And we'll just peg that on in like so. And then we'll take the tab section on the shins right there and tab it into the forearms. So just bring that up and tab that on in. And the same can go for the other side. So just bring the leg down, tab it on into that first hole right there with the peg on the thigh. And then just kind of make sure it's all organized and lined up like so. And then we're going to take the shin and that tab, and that's just going to go into the forearm right there like so. And just make sure to squeeze it on in. And then we're going to take the panel sections here, just going to lift them up, make sure the back is closed up, and we're just going to bring these up and just feed those tabs underneath while closing both of them together, and just slide it on in, and that should be it. Now that is a awful transformation. So here is the vehicle mode for Pablo, or wheeljack, whatever you want to call him. But as you see, his nerdy ass face is looking through that glass there. Has a very nice, actually painted up Volkswagen logo though. It has a nice sculpt to it. It looks like the vehicle is trying to portray, and it's painted up pretty nice for the base figure. I mean, I haven't done anything to the vehicle mode yet at all. Besides maybe like the tail lights I just started on, but I haven't even finished them. I just put silver on it. But I am going to be painting up some parts of it there. As you can see, the tail lights I only put silver on, but everything else is just the stock figure. So I mean, it is painted up pretty nice as far as like the vehicle mode goes. So I mean, it was the vehicle mode, I guess, that was taken a little more care of. But you can see the TV Pablo there on the side. And you can see a lot of the different sculpt work on it as well. And it looks nice, but it's just kind of not really the funnest transformation. But here's the underside too as well. And is a little bit hollow, but it's not too bad. Figure does roll on all four wheels, and it is very nice and compact. Yeah, I mean, there's not really too much to say about the vehicle mode. Not a lot of crazy stuff going on. That looks like it's not pegged in too much. But, I mean, yeah, he is just kind of like a solid little brick. I mean, he doesn't look bad in vehicle mode, but, at the same time, it's like that transformation just was not worth it. But anyway, bring in the gun for weapon storage. It does just kind of store on the top right there, pretty much emulating what was on the poster for the Rise of the Beast characters. They had like these character posters, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't look too bad, but I kind of wish they could have maybe stored the gun underneath. I mean, you have all this hollow space. I feel like you definitely could have, unless you actually can, and I just haven't done it yet. But yeah, I mean, I wish they could have used some of that hollow space, but yeah, I mean, he doesn't look too bad. Probably the only positive to this figure. But anyway, let's get into a comparison. So here he is next to the Core Class RC in vehicle mode, and they don't look too awful together. I mean, I think the bike is a little bit big, but then again, Core Class RC has a couple issues, but definitely not as bad as wheeljack. And here he is next to the Bumblebee right here. Doesn't look too bad. Bumblebee looking a little bit bigger. I'm pretty sure this isn't exactly the most accurate scale, at least from what I think. But yeah, it doesn't look too awful, I guess. And here he is next to Mirage, which, again, I'm not too sure if this scale is accurate or not. I'm not really sure how big the Volkswagen van is in the movie, but here he is next to Optimus Prime. Now this scale looks a little bit more believable. Does work a little bit better with each other, I think. But yeah, it does not look too bad. I do think they look pretty decent together. But yeah, not too out of scale. And here is all the Autobots next to each other. And I do think they look pretty nice all together. But let's take a look at some other comparisons. So here he is next to the Nightbird, which I really do like this Nightbird figure. It's a really, really nice Studio Series figure. But here he is next to Cheetor from Rise of the Beast. See how they look next to each other? Not too bad. I'm pretty sure Cheetor is supposed to be way bigger. And here he is next to the Bumblebee movie Wheeljack, which, I still like the Bumblebee movie figure, and I still think that the Bumblebee movie Wheeljack just still looks a lot better. And, the Cybertron mode is just great. So, some final thoughts on this figure. Some of the sculpt work is good, and would I even recommend picking this figure up? If you want a good figure, I probably don't recommend this figure. The transformation is awful. It's very clunky. He doesn't really pose very well. And the design of the character and the figure itself is up to your personal preference if you like it or you don't. Me personally, I just bought this figure just so I could complete my Rise of the Beast Autobot team. But he looks decent painted up, and I think the vehicle mode is just definitely looks pretty cool. It's not worth it with that abysmal transformation. But I guess he's a decent figure. It's not bad. It's not awful, but it's also not really fun and enjoyable either. And if you have the mainline one, I would just stick with the mainline figure. But anyway, that's pretty much it for this review. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.